So I guess I would say that it seems like, so hand in hand with being a comedian is like having money problems as well. And I know that this has probably been convinced from watching everybody else that every comic is broke until they make it. Everybody struggles. So again, I've been trying with the prosperity mentality and saying, money's coming in. But sometimes when I'm just so deeply entrenched in having no money, like I literally had to drink a glass of water the other night so I could go to bed because I was hungry because I couldn't afford any food, And when you're in that point, like I want to believe the money's coming in, but it's just hard. Like antidotes to this thinking?
Well, what you do is, at the time that you are least aware of your lack of money, you relax about other things in an attempt to be trusting that it is coming. You look for evidence of it coming in the ways that it does come, rather than counting the evidence of the way it's not coming and the way it's not coming. In other words, you just keep reaching for the better thought and reaching for the better thought and reaching for the better thought. And little by little by little by little, you begin to acknowledge, well, if I can do that, then I can do that. Well, if I can do that, then I can do that. It does not come all at once, but you did not get to the place that you are all at once either. And so that's why the barrage of processes that we offer are all oriented toward helping you get to the place where you are allowing the well-being that you're asking for.
Right.
In other words, that was a really dynamic and dramatic statement that you just made. Straight from the heart, no manipulation involved. In other words, you were just clearly stating how you feel. And it rippled through the audience. In other words, everyone can feel it. Some identify with it now. Some remember that feeling. As you keep that vibration alive, you keep that vibration alive. And as you feel the discomfort of that vibration and you say, I'd like to awaken another vibration, you can't usually awaken another vibration on that same subject right here, right now. But the fact that you want to will cause the universe to line something up that will give you more of that.
Right. And I know something always crops up right when you're kind of at the edge, but I want it to come sooner.
But hear what you just said. I know something always crops up. Oh, did you feel the purity of that vibration? In other words, did you feel how much better that vibration felt than I had to drink water because I was hungry before I went to bed? In other words, that was a much more serving vibration for you. And then you counted it again a little bit. In other words, you just want to be sensitive to where you're going. And of course, we're not wanting you to monitor your words. That'll make you nutty. We want you to pay attention to the way you feel and reach for thoughts that feel good. And when you get on a trend of something that does feel good, milk it for all it's worth. And when you get on a trend that doesn't feel good, try to get off it as fast as you can. That's the way it works. Now, let's come back to this comedy.
Yeah.
What makes you choose that? In other words, do you feel driven to it, compelled to it? In other words, is this something you really want to do, that you feel natural to? Well, that's the way it feels in your vibration. And so, as you say, I have found a really good fit. Ooh, doesn't that feel good as it resonates through you? And then you think about comics that are not hungry when they go to bed. And a lot of them will tell you stories of when they were hungry, and those aren't the parts of their careers you're wanting to remember. You're wanting to remember them being at the top. As you look at how many people are fantastically famous and wealthy and eating well and influential, that also found comedy to be a very good fit for them, you can ride on their vibrational coattails just by telling yourself their stories over and over and over and over again. Don't tell yourself their starving artist stories. Tell yourself their success stories. Look at where they are. Remember that they can go anywhere. They can get their name on any billboard in any place. They can get on nearly any television program. In other words, they are wanted. They are where they want to be. And you can be too. You just got to tell those stories and vibrate there.
Right. It's a very good tip.
Now talk to us about the comedy. Talk to us about the thrill of being there and humorous, well-timed things being evoked from you.
Talk about it?
Talk about how that feels.
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it is just, when when I do it and it goes well, I really feel like it was why I was put on the planet that time, and I feel just amazingly connected.
So what we are wanting you to do just for a little while is pick some of those rooms or sets where you really were clicking, and replay them often so that you keep that active in your vibration. Because you see, you can look at yourself from a lot of different vantage points. You can see yourself in that successful moment and activate a vibration, or you can see yourself as a starving artist who sometimes has a good set but is mostly a starving artist and activate that vibration. You get to choose what part of all of that you make dominant in your vibration.
Right.
And it's strictly about airtime. In other words, you understand the more exposure you get to the more people, the more well-known you will become. In other words, as people hear you and like you and then begin remembering your name and begin retelling others about you, in other words, this is the way your reputation is going to expand. And so what we are suggesting is in exactly the same way, you can give airtime to the successful part of you, or you can give airtime to the unsuccessful part of you, and every part of it has a ripple effect that is going to affect your future experience as it unfolds. Do you make yourself laugh?
Yeah, yeah.
And do you enjoy coming up with funny things?
Yeah, and actually this was another thing that I wanted to ask you, because I know we're not supposed to, focus on the negative, but so much of comedy does come from negativity. I mean, I listen to other comics, there is, a lot of that. So I kind of worry about that, like when I write jokes that come from like bad dating or whatever. I mean, am I putting out that vibration every time I do that material on stage?
Or are you taking a subject that is negative for many people and softening it to a place that feels better?
Okay. Yeah. I see, yeah. Thank you very much.